Hello and welcome to day 16 of Vlogmas. As you can tell from the title, we are going over 23 books I'd like to read before the end of 2023. All of these are from my physical TBR. I am super excited to get to all of them. Some of them I've been saying I'm going to read for quite a long time. Some of them this entire year and last year. But let's just dive right in. First, I'm going to start with trilogies. I have Poison Study, Magic Study, and Fire Study by Maria V. Snyder. I originally found these because of Sasha Alsberg when she talked about them, and they sound really good. From what I know is that our female main character, something happens, she is put on trial, and she is given the option to be a tester for a royal, the prince or king or something, or be put to death. Obviously, she chooses the tester. It kind of takes off from there. I'm not really sure what the magic system is or anything like that. It just sounded really good. I've seen when I originally looked up this series like 4 or 5 years ago, I see nothing but good about it. It's quite old school, and it took me a very super freaking long time to find matching covers for this series. I was thoroughly surprised. The next trilogy I would very much love to read is Daughter of Smoke and Bone, Days of Blood and Starlight, and Dreams of Gods and Monsters by Laini Taylor. I know absolutely nothing about this series other than we follow a girl who has blue hair and there are some magical abilities. That's all I got. That's all I know. And that series has been on my radar for like 8 years, and I just picked them up last year. And then the last trilogy I would love to read and really never got to was Ember in the Ashes, A Reaper at the Gates, and A Torch Against the Night by Sabaa Tahir. I started reading Ember in the Ashes, and if this is not my first video you have seen and you've watched a few of my previous ones, you will know that I started this like 3 times, and it wasn't that it was bad. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I even have it on audio that I was listening to and stopped because I just got sucked in with other books, and I am flippin' determined to read this series. There is 4 books. The last one is A Sky Beyond the Storm. I just don't own it. But from what I was reading, we follow our female main character who, her brother was taken in the dead of night. She goes to the rebels of her world. There's a rebel movement to get her brother back, knowing that he was working with them. They say, yes, we'll help you, but you have to do something for us. We want you to infiltrate this academy to gather information for us, and in return, we'll help get your brother back. We also have another POV following our male character, and he attends this academy. His mother is very high up, and his best friend and I guess partner, you could say. And there is a tournament that goes on because a prophesized person will lead them. And that's kind of the gist I got. I didn't make it very far. But I'm super excited to read that, and I am determined to read them before the end of 2023. Okay, so next on the list are 2 books of the same series. They're the ending. So I have The House of Hades as well as Blood of Olympus by Rick Riordan. These are the last 2 books in the Heroes of Olympus series. And the first book being The Lost Hero, in which we follow Jason, who wakes up on this bus not knowing who he is or how he got there, though the people on the bus are saying he's been with them for a while. Coach, the teacher on board, thinks there's something fishy going on but doesn't say anything. They reach their destination, which is They're on a field trip. They are attacked, but saved by this girl named Annabeth, who is looking for her boyfriend, a boy named Percy Jackson. Annabeth, knowing that they are half-bloods, half god, half human, she takes them back to Camp Half-Blood, where Chiron notices there's something going on, but he's not willing to say anything. But Jason somehow knows everything but the Roman version, not the Greek version. It kind of takes off from there. It is so good. I highly, highly recommend reading it. I would argue it's like a smidge better than Percy Jackson. And if you know me, you'll know my love for Percy Jackson runs deep and is near and dear to my heart. But I love the mix of adding in the Roman aspect of Greek and Roman mythology. It is so good. I highly recommend. Moving on, I have books in series that aren't the first or the last. So first I have The Broken Eye by Brent Weeks, which is the third book in the Lightbringer series, the first one being The Black Prism. We follow Gavin Guile, who is a prism. If you do not know what a prism is, it is a pyramid of crystal that when you hold to the light, it casts a rainbow. As the prism, you can harness all the colors of the rainbow, and in this world, the magic system is built on the rainbow and prism colors. You can harness a color through Luxin by absorbing light and color and then using that to manifest certain things. Certain colors have better strength than others. Some are stronger, some are better for architecture, that kind of thing. Gavin, being able to harness all of these, is called the prism. Back in the day, Gavin and his brother got into a sibling rivalry and his brother was killed. Gavin also during the war had a fling that we now follow his son's point of view from this small little town. His mother sends him to look for him. Guile, though, himself, something strange is happening and he's losing color. He's losing the ability to see color, which in turn, he isn't able to absorb those certain colors and use Luxin. It's so good. I highly recommend. I have been listening to them on audiobook, but I think for The Broken Eye, I'm going to do both read and listen if I get the chance to, because it's really, really good. And now that we're kind of getting into more complicated things within this world and the characters intertwining and timelines going all over the place, I think reading them physically will also help a lot. Okay, so next is the second book in the Clash of Kingdoms series. I believe this is a trilogy. This is Ever the Brave, the first one being Ever the Hunted. In Ever the Hunted, we follow our female main character who is tried because she was hunting on the king's property. In this world, there is a war going on, and since she resembles people on the other side of this war than where she lives, she is very much cast out. Her father was the official tracker or hunter for this kingdom, so she was tolerated, but he was murdered. The people suspect that it was from his apprentice and her old crush and best friend. When she is caught poaching on the king's land, she is given an ultimatum: find her father's killer and ex-apprentice or be put to death. Obviously, she chooses to find him. It is so good. Highly, highly recommend. Okay, the next two books that I want to talk about are City of Brass and City of Gold by S.A. Chakrabarti. I know nothing about this book series except that our main character is a thief. One day she steals something and lets a djinn free. Something happens with the djinn and our female main character, and they have to travel to the city of Brass, encountering some mythical creatures. Once they get there, her presence isn't a good thing, and she sparks, I don't know, a war or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but a lot of people seem to like it, so we're just gonna... I'm excited. I'm excited to read it. I've heard nothing but good things about it. I honestly haven't heard one bad review about this trilogy, I think it is, so I'm quite excited to read it. And then next are just standalones, or the first in a series. So I have 3 fantasy and 4 romance to talk about. So let's get into fantasy first. So I have The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart. I know absolutely nothing about this book except our main character, she's the princess, and her dad, the king, can harness bone magic, and she is not taken seriously by him or the kingdom, so she takes it upon herself to learn bone shard magic. And that's really it. It sounds really good. I've heard good things. Then we have Daughter of Sparta by Claire M. Andrews. If you have been following my channel for a while, you know that this and my next book have been on so many TBRs. So putting it on a list for books that I want to read next year. Hopefully they get read. I am determined to read every single book on this list. So we have Daughter of Sparta. We follow our main character, and her brother has been taken. I think it's Artemis or Athena. I think it's Athena. She tasks her with, I believe it's collecting artifacts, and she sends Apollo to go with her. It's kind of their romance, I believe. And then last but not least, we have A Queen in Hiding by Sarah Kozlov. This is the first in the 9 Realms series, and we have our female main character who is orphaned, outlawed, and on the run, and her kingdom has been taken over. She has these magical abilities of some sort that she needs to get a hold of, as well as take back her kingdom, and she needs to become a fighter in the arena. I believe it's very much like a, what do they call them? The word is eluding my brain. She has to take back her kingdom. Again, I've heard nothing but good things about it, so I'm excited. And then last but not least, we have a few romances. So this one you would have seen this month, and I decided not to read it and chose something else, and that is The Chase by Vanessa Fewings. This follows our main character, and she is a detective in the art world, and an American billionaire has demanded her help retrieving a painting that was stolen from him. But as the story goes on and they kind of become involved, she doesn't know if this is an actual heist or if he is a fraud. I'm excited to find out, especially after reading Heist by Tate James. I was super excited to read that, and I am excited to read it, but other things came up. Then we have The Bookshop of Second Chances. I am going to read the synopsis. Thea Morterum is having a bad month. She's been let go from her office job with no notice, and to make matters even worse, her husband of nearly 20 years has decided to leave her for one of her friends. Bewildered and completely lost, Thea doesn't know what to do. But when she learns that a distant great uncle in Scotland has passed away, leaving her his home and hefty antique book collection, she decides to leave Sussex for a few weeks, escaping to a small coastal town where no one knows her. Seems to be exactly what she needs. Almost instantly, Thea becomes enamored with the quaint cottage, comforted by its cozy rooms and lovely but neglected garden. The locals in nearby town are just as warm, quirky, and inviting. The only person she can't seem to win over is bookshop owner Edward Maltravers, to whom she hopes to sell her uncle's book collection. His gruff attitude, fueled by an infamous long-standing feud with his brother, a local lord, tests Thea's patience, but bickering with Edward proves oddly refreshing and exciting, leading Thea to develop feelings that she hasn't experienced in a long time. As she follows a thrilling yet terrifying impulse to stay in Scotland indefinitely, Thea realizes that her new life may quickly become just as complicated as the one she's running from. It sounds so good. Books having to do with bookshops, coziness, the UK, grip me. I am sold. So next on the list is It's Been a Pleasure, Noni Blake by Claire Christian. This sounds so good. We follow Noni Blake, who has put everybody before herself, and she's decided she wants to put herself first for a little bit and starts to discover herself. It says, as she embarks on a pleasure-seeking quest that takes her halfway around the world, she discovers that maybe she can have everything and everyone she's ever wanted. I'm all about a find me novel, and this sounds so good. And then another one that has been on multiple lists, especially in the summertime, is Love Your Life by Sophie Kinsella. This sounds so good. So we follow two characters, male, female, and they go on this retreat. While they're at this retreat, they decide that they're gonna have a little hookup. There's no names, and they just have a really good time. Once they go back to their real lives, they end up running into each other and realize how different their everyday to day lives really are, and it's them trying to work out their romance. I am not gonna lie, the cover is what sold me, and then we also have a little beagle on there, which is what 110% sold me on this novel. So those are the books that I would love to read from my physical TBR. 23 books by the end of 2023. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit that like button. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe. There's only a few more days left of Vlogmas. I'd love for you to ride it out to the end, and if you haven't, go back and watch some of my earlier videos for Vlogmas. I've been having such a good time. I will catch you guys in the next one. Thanks again for watching. Bye guys.